Gonna Eller gangster med rose. So, trying to find my path here through the gardens. Uh, Anybody here? Want to know something? Let's talk knowledge, wisdom. Many confuse knowledge with wisdom. It's not exactly the same. That's why we also have two words for it. Two different words. What is knowledge? What is wisdom? Wisdom. Wisdom. Anybody wants to hear about it? Then come join. When do people join? Do I have to start talking? And then sometimes they come. I don't know. Then I started talking and they're missing the whole point, the whole start of it. So, let's just start. I hope you can hear me. I hope the wind is not too strong. I hope the wind is not too strong. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. So we are 2 minutes in, nobody has been here. Oh, Inata, Sol, what do you mean? What does that mean? So let's talk about knowledge or wisdom. We have two words for it, so it's not the same. But people sometimes confuse knowledge with wisdom. But what's the difference between wisdom? The rooster. What's the difference between knowledge and wisdom? What's the difference between knowledge and wisdom? What is wisdom? What is knowledge? So knowledge is just information based, and information alone doesn't actually tell you if it's true or false. So you can have a lot of information, but it can be all false. And you can have a lot of information and it can be true. You can have a lot of information, some is true, some is false. But wisdom is always true. So there is some knowledge that may be wisdom, but not all knowledge is wisdom, because not all knowledge is actually true. You see, when people tell each other lies, or some people invent lies, layers upon layers, stories, whole stories, people can know everything about that story, but it's still a lie, and they have a lot of knowledge, but it's still a lie. Right? They have a lot of knowledge about that story. Some people read Harry Potter, for example, they have a lot of knowledge about Harry Potter, but still Harry Potter is fiction. So on the other hand, you can get a lot of wisdom from a story like Harry Potter, even if it's fiction. You see? Because there might be things inside the story that are true, that are universally true. Okay? And wisdom, the word itself basically says it's wise, dumb. So dumb always refers to dominion or the head. where the actual power is. So dom, free, dom, for example, the same. Wisdom. So it's a wise head. Not knowledgeable, but wise. So there is a slight difference. Okay? Because again, if you have a bulk of information in your head and you consider yourself wise, then you're not wise. Because the only wise thing would be to say, okay, I take that bulk of information and I dissect it, whether it's true or false. Then you're doing a wise thing and you come to wisdom. Okay? Because a lot of people in this world are just being bombarded with information and knowledge, not just by media but also by schools, and they never actually sit down and question things. There is a good portion of people that do this to certain degrees, but there are also, and it's I guess the majority of people, that don't do this. They don't go and try to verify the information that they have in their minds, and if it turns out that an information is wrong, they have to delete it. Very simple. They have to bin it like they do on their computers. If you don't need something anymore, you just delete it, right? You delete it from your hardware. So you open up space for other things. And the same you can apply to your head, the headspace. So information alone is not wisdom. Wisdom is to know what information is true and what is false. That's where the wisdom actually is. And if you cannot verify an information, then wisdom has to tell you that you have to let go of that information because you cannot actually verify it. Right? That's also part of wisdom. So wisdom is more of a being, of a doing, instead of just having information. And that's also a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Because a lot of people have a lot of knowledge, but they don't do anything with it, right? Because they learn a lot in school, but half of it they don't use, right? Or even more than half of it. So wisdom is more like a state of being, and it aligns with actual truth. And the truth is that there is a creator that created this whole creation. And there is also the wisdom. So wisdom is not something that you can actually go and buy. Just like with love, you cannot go into a store, you cannot go into the supermarket and buy a bag of wisdom. That's not how it works. And there are a lot of deceivers out there that sell you wisdom. They claim that they have wisdom, they have written it into a book, and they sell you these books for a fortune often. Okay, and then they make you believe that only in those books you can find wisdom. Only in those books you can get to a knowledge that will set you free, or a knowledge that can transform your whole life, and that's how they fool you. They market it that way. They advertise it that way. Okay? Very simple. And there's a lot of knowledge in these books, but honestly, you could live your whole life without ever having read any book. And you will get to a lot of wisdom. Wisdom will come to you through experience. And that's also the difference between knowledge and wisdom, is that wisdom must be understood, like really understood. But you have a lot of people that read books, that have a lot of knowledge, also truthful knowledge. In their brains, they have a lot of words in their brains, but they don't actually really understand them. They don't back it up with actual experience. And they go around talking, using these things because, oh, it's known to be wisdom, but they might not actually live accordingly. They might not truly understand what they are talking about. And so that's also a difference between wisdom and knowledge, that you can have a lot of knowledge without actually understanding a thing. How does that work? Well, for example, you may have gone through schooling, and because you had to do a test on something, you were just filling your head up with information and then vomiting that information just to do the test. And you got a good grade because you just replicated the information, but you didn't maybe truly understand everything. There was not even the time to understand everything because you just had a week to go, or maybe just a day or 2 days to go for the test, and then you just delivered the test. Everything was cool, you got out of it, you had a good grade, but you did not understand a thing. You did not keep anything with you from that knowledge. And wisdom, on the other hand, is something that you truly understand from within. So when people come to knowledge, they have to really sit down and try to understand things. And what does actually understanding mean? It's what the word says, to understand, to be below, to stand under. Under wisdom. Under whom? Under God, because God is truly wisdom. And so you have a lot of people that sell you knowledge, books of knowledge, very expensive, and they paint themselves, they portray themselves as if they were God. They pretend to be God, giving you the knowledge, giving you the wisdom. Because they themselves don't understand God himself. They make themselves into God. Okay? So that's also what the Bible teaches, lots of wisdom there, that you basically make yourself small, not before people but before God, where the true wisdom is. And then you can start to understand your life, who you truly are, and things about the world, things about life. And there is then also the mystery that nobody can actually sell you. Everybody could tap into this by himself if somebody would teach you correctly. But you have in this world a lot of people that want to make money. And they write books to make money. And they sell you those books, that's their only interest, to make money. Okay? And of course they paint themselves as if they are these wise people with a lot of knowledge. You have then 10,000s of books in your home, that maybe half of them you read, right? And you feel super smart, not realizing that it all led you astray from actual wisdom. Because, take a tree for example. A tree never reads a book in his whole life. A lion in the savannah never reads a book his whole life. How does he know what to do, who he is? And there, God is truly. What about blind people that cannot read? Like physically blind people. Can they know God? Are they rejected by God? No. Are they held back to know God? No. Then you would say, well, we gotta tell them. We gotta communicate with words to them what God is. We gotta read what we can read to them, and only then they would be able to know God. No, it's also false. That's the corrupt system we live in, of this world. Because a blind person, physically blind, can know God, does actually know God, experiences God every day of his or her life. Just like everybody, actually. Because God is life. And if the life is within you, if you are alive, there is God. You don't need to buy books, you don't need to go to the grocery store, to the gas station, to the library, actually, to gain wisdom. That's a trick. People have fooled you. For what? For commerce, for earthly wealth. And they make it so. They tell you, well, you're not there yet. You're not with God yet. You're disconnected. Right? They tell you all these things before, because only then they can sell you the book. It's salesmanship. Do people even understand that? Only then they can sell you the book. Because they first establish that you are not with God and you buy the story. But if your life, the life is within you, you are with God. So who is saying you are not with God? Deceivers. That's what it is. People who are trying to abuse you for earthly wealth. And that doesn't mean that you cannot find knowledge, good knowledge that can lead you back to wisdom, or in general into wisdom, not back to, just into wisdom, into knowing more. That's not what I'm saying. You can definitely read books just like reading the Bible. But people must be aware not to fall for any kind of idolatry linked to these books again. Not realizing that the life's actually within themselves, not in the book. That the wisdom is actually within themselves, not in the book. That a book should just be a guide to something. Not something that you ritualistically come back to. You actually should read the Bible and then close it and give it away. And then you truly have found God. You know? Because God is not in the book. The book is dead. The book is not a living being. And there's the truth. Because life is within you. So if anybody tells you that you're disconnected from life, they fool you. Disconnected from God, that you need to work for enlightenment, it couldn't be further from the truth actually. Because the truth is, you already have it. You already were given life. You are already with God. You already have it. You already have the light that you might be looking for. That somebody told you to look for because they fooled you into thinking that you're disconnected from it. And it's actually very sad. Why they do this? Because for commerce. Or because they are themselves so deceived. And you have whole organizations that live off of this. Okay? That try to sell you books. And again, wisdom can't be bought, cannot be bought. It's like love. Your life can't be bought also. When people understand this, They are much, much closer to wisdom, much, much closer to the truth. Your life can't be bought. You don't go into a store and buy a newborn. Okay? I mean, if it's truly, you can go and adopt children, that's not what I mean. But if it's truly made from a man and a woman, that's how you create life, and there's a newborn, you cannot buy this with money. Okay? Whatever is happening there. Of course, you can buy a woman and then make children, but the life itself, that's where I'm getting to. The life that is within everybody, that is God, that tells you that you are not disconnected from God, that you don't need to work for some sort of enlightenment, because that's the trickery. That is what keeps you away from God. Okay? But not in truth away from God, because you're living, right? You might be in an organization or something, you're reading a lot of books, you feel like, oh, you're on a journey to enlightenment. But you're being fooled. It's a deception, it's an illusion while you're living. Like the answer was right in front of you, right inside of you, actually. Right inside of you. The God is within you. Does that mean you are God? No. Like, you are not the one who created everything. Nobody is. But God is working through us. You see? Life, each man is like a branch of life. It's not the whole tree. God is the whole tree. Okay? But each branch, people are just like branches. You see that life runs through them. Wait a minute. Hello. Life is in these children, right? They are so innocent, but they are being abused by a world system. And it's actually said that they will grow up probably thinking that they have lost connection with God, and they need to work for it to get back there, and living in these illusions because they are being abused by this world. People are being abused. Hi Nicole. Glaubst an Jesus? Was meinst du damit? Also, glaube ich, ob er wirklich existiert hat, gibt es ja viele Ansätze, wie man an Jesus glauben kann auch. Gibt es ja auch lauter Geschichten hier. Maybe you can formulate the question a bit better. Oder es gibt auch Leute, die glauben, Jesus ist Gott. Könnte auch eine Frage sein. Also frag mal genauer, dann kann ich es dir vielleicht sagen. Falls du noch da bist, ansonsten nicht. So I will for the other people I will make this live public. So I'm basically just finished talking about wisdom. I've talked about it 24 minutes now. There is basically nothing more that I can say. Actually, the more you talk, the further you get away from wisdom again. You see, that's what also is part of wisdom. is to know that you don't need words for wisdom. Okay? Words are just a tool to communicate with other people. Symbolism, same. You wouldn't need all that junk to live. Just like the trees do, just like the animals do. Okay? Words are just tools to communicate something to other people. But most of the time, sadly, people live too much in the matrix of words and of expressions and of it gets so complex that they cannot see the truth anymore, the simple truth, because they live in these complicated lives, first of all in their minds, right? And then it translates to the physical world, to their lives, and complexity, and sometimes they love that complexity, something that actually hurts them, something that gives you headaches, right? But they love it. It's like they love a rapist. It's very sad, right? So for these people, what they need is to simplify their lives again, because there's the truth. As simple as doves, as simple as a tree. Okay? People are meant to live simply, not in complexities, not in bureaucracy. It's crazy, right? It's literally bureaucracy, it's literally democracy. Okay? It's not sane. Sane is simplicity. Sane is wisdom. Sane is a simple life. And okay, I will finish this talk. I will upload it so you can rewatch it later because I'm at the end of this talk now, finally. And you can rewatch it anytime if you want and know something about knowledge and wisdom.